everyone, and welcome back to your weekly PlayStation podcast, Talking the PS, right here at Helix Cloud Games. You're joining myself, Chris, alongside my two lovely co-hosts, the man of many pixels, Mr. Richie.
Hello, everyone.
And below him, our chaotic neutral himself, Rob. Welcome back.
Afternoon,
to the first ever live show, even though many people who watch and listen to this will be watching it on the Tuesday when it goes live, but this is live. There's loads of people with us in the chat. Thank you to everyone who stopped by. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and hit that bell so you're kept in the loop with all of the great content we do here at Helix Cloud Games. Just like the remnants of the Sounds of Stadia podcast will still be alive. We've got shows going. We've got stuff planned with the community, with people out there. So do not fear. That show will still be continuing until we pretty much just run out of things to talk about. But there is going to be loads of fallout from this week's news, so don't forget to check that one out. But we are here right now to talk about all the PlayStation stuff, and we've got a great show lined up for you talking about your PlayStation Plus monthly games for the month of October that have gone live and been announced. We've got some news on upcoming games, some PlayStation Stars updates, some rumours, and talk of the Last of Us TV series in and among some other PC ports. And we're going to get into all of that. Don't forget to check out the rest of the content we've just done, or we are doing now live as part of our Helix Cloud Games celebration. 3 years of this channel. Although this show is only 16 weeks old, the actual channel is over 3 years. So go check out our other live streams, our other Let's Plays, our CloudQuest show, which goes live every Friday, bringing you better content every single week. Shout out to our Helix Heroes, of course, all the wonderful folks who join us and support us. Your patronage is wonderful. Over 50 of you out there support the channel a little bit extra, and we couldn't do it without you. After 3 whole years and this very celebration episode we're doing now, we do this for you. Honestly, I think we said on the Sounds of Stadia podcast, Richie, we wouldn't still be here 3 years in if it wasn't for the wonderful people who we've met along the way, who've supported us and told us, yeah, you getting together, talking about games is what we want to hear. And it's been great to see.
100%, yeah.
But as I said, we've got a great show. Before we do dive into it, though, I apparently last week, Rob, I irked you a little bit by not asking what you're playing this week. So before we do get into the news and the bulk of the show, what have you been playing this week?
And the good thing is I have been playing something this week.
It's always good.
And it has been Battle for Middle-earth, the original PC.
Oh, legend.
Nice.
It's what a game that is. I'm like so deep into like Lord of the Rings lore at the moment. That's why I feel like when you're talking about like the different stages of Helix Cloud Gaming, you should refer to them as ages and not phases.
Yes, that's better. That's better.
much
I like
better.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good
We're
thing
entering
to
the
do.
third age of Helix Cloud Games.
Yeah. But I have made a very impactful decision on the PlayStation front. I am reverting back to hardware. I've tried to make like the cloud version of PlayStation work, but with kind of like the developments with Stadia, like we don't really, like in our house, we don't really have like a couch gaming option now. So we are kind of to be jumping for the PlayStation 5 in its bulky, massive glory. So it's going to be in a cupboard. So I don't have to look at it, but going back to hardware.
Yeah.
It's like putting a bag over somebody's head.
Yeah.
Basically, it is, yeah.
Unfortunately, I think PlayStation's streaming option isn't quite there in terms of its UI and stuff, and being able to play natively without a PlayStation.
Yeah.
There's been things where it's like I was playing Ghost of Tsushima, and like it's obviously like the PS4 version. I'm like, I'm just not playing the best version of this game, and that's been like nagging at me for a little bit. So
yeah, it's always
making
the
the
back of your
dive.
mind. Yeah. Well,
right after the price rise went in. So whatever.
Yeah, you get. However, because of the refund you're going to get for all the Stadia hardware, I guess that's going to cover that 20 quid difference a little bit.
Yeah, I'd hope so.
So it's a win and a loss scenario, but I think me and Richie will both agree that there's things to do with the PlayStation Cloud element that still baffle me to this day. The fact that if I boot up PlayStation Cloud through a desktop, it's not the same list of games as I have when I boot up PlayStation Cloud on my console. How is that not a unified list?
The frustrating thing about it, and this goes for the PS5 as well, is the PS4 had a great way that you could organize your games by just creating folders and putting games in it.
Yes,
it's such a simple solution.
It really is. It really is.
Why haven't they? I don't know why they didn't carry it forward with PlayStation 5. They literally made the UI worse. and the PlayStation Plus PC app is even worse than that.
Yeah, and in the premium subscriptions coming in for some stick right now, like 3-4 months in, people are saying like, is it worth it? We haven't really seen anything to merit the price changes, the price structure rises, and the cloud gaming element's supposed to be a perk of it, but it doesn't really feel like it a lot of the time, especially if you're not getting next gen games. So I believe there's something in the works to kind of upscale everything soon. And
I think this is the start. This is the start, not
it has
the
to be.
end.
It has to be. And we know with the Google Stadia news this week of them closing down in January, we've actually just spent a lot of time this morning discussing it as part of our celebration. But yeah, this week Sounds of Stadia, one of the things we do say about immersive game for streams, it's no longer a competitor to PlayStation or Xbox or Nintendo. So does it become a more viable business partnership if you're no longer competing on the cloud front with Stadia? Not that it was ever major competition for these guys, but it's an extra player off the board, and Google are willing to literally sell that technology. And let's face it, the PlayStation Gaikai tech, it just doesn't work as well as all the others do. I mean,
especially Stadia as well. Like, you can't deny like the tech behind Stadia is way ahead of even anything like xCloud's doing and things like that.
It is. It really is.
xCloud is apparently catching up, going by anecdotal stuff from people who've used both.
Yeah.
So,
well, we'll find out soon, Richie, when we start looking at our Game Pass Ultimate thing and getting back into it, and we look at doing different things on the channel. So
I'm planning a CloudQuest probably in the next few weeks to go into like what we think Google will should do next with the immersive stream tech now Stadia's on its way out. So
but why labeling just makes so much sense. But again, a bit tangent, but like it
is indeed. Yeah,
surely that's the step right.
There's a few people in the chat saying, tempted to say Xbox. I know it's Fletch. Tempted to PlayStation to use Stadia's tech. It seems weird that Google and Sony are both now saying they don't like the Xbox acquisition of Microsoft Activision Blizzard. Sorry, but yeah, you never know. Like I think Richie, you said earlier on today, like Nintendo should get in on that because it's like their streaming tech shit.
And I think with Nintendo is probably the one who stands to benefit more from it.
Yeah.
Because with the Switch being underpowered compared to other consoles, streaming tech can bridge the gap.
Yeah, you ain't seeing Cyberpunk run on a Switch anytime.
They do need to bring out a better Switch that has better networking capabilities because the current ones are crap. So cloud gaming's always going to be iffy on the current Switch just because the network card isn't good enough. No matter how good your internet is, you're limited by the hardware in the device. But
yeah, I think we're going to see another Switch when the next Zelda game comes out. Like, it's going to be a pack.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think we'll get an announcement maybe just after Christmas, and then that'll be the big.
I'd consider buying an upgraded Switch actually. I love my Switch, but yeah, if I could get a bit more power out of it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people thinking that. Speaking of power, though, Richie, what have you been playing?
Just Trails of Cold Steel 1 at the moment.
Just enjoying it?
Chip my way. Yeah, I really am. I'm looking forward to playing Trails of Cold Steel 2. I've been researching actually what's the best gaming order to play like the Trails series in because there's quite a lot of games.
Yeah,
and some of the games kind of take place and all the games kind of interlock as well. It's like a cinematic universe, but some of the games take place at the same time, and there's spoilers for some games in other games, and so it's like where's the best place to start?
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be 2. The order I think I've settled on will be Trails of Cold Steel 2 next. Then I'll move over to probably some of the other stuff. But that's probably the other side of God of War, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it's creeping up on us this November date. Now we're in October. It's getting ever so closer. I chipped a little bit away on Assassin's Creed Rogue, but then I've been down in London with work through the week, so I've not actually had any hands-on game time. I've been consuming far too much alcohol and stage musicals to go see. I want to see the Back to the Future musical. Really good. Really fun. The way they actually utilised like tech and projection mapping and like augmented reality type stuff was, for a musical on stage, was like super cool to kind of see it all played out. And they did have like the real flame marks go up the stage as well when the DeLorean does its thing. So it was like quite like, this is cool shit. This is cool shit. But yeah, so not that much gaming, but I knew we were going to do some gaming this weekend with the whole celebration stream. So didn't have to worry too much about that. Right then, boys, let's get into the bulk of the show. Rob, if you could introduce us to the
properly prepared PlayStation Cruising Point, aka The
news.
Brought to you by Helix Cloud Games Celebration. First up this week, we have the news of your October... I was going to say pro games then. PlayStation Plus games are live and good to claim from the 4th of October. So at the time of listening, you should be able to claim them right now, unless you're listening on our celebration stream. So you're going to have to wait till Tuesday. First up on the PlayStation Plus games, claimable, Hot Wheels Unleashed. For both PS4 and PS5. Collect, build, and race in this fantastic arcade sim based on the Hot Wheels universe. Earn new vehicles, then take them to the track to race side by side with friends in 2-player split screen or face up to 12 opponents in online challenges. Once you've raced, why not try and build your own course? Create amazing layouts inside and out, outside the track editor, add loops, special boosters, obstacles, and special elements to make an incredible amusement park for your races, then share your creation with others online to try and test out. Well, Hot Wheels. I think ironic, Richie, for us, especially from the Stadia front. The Hot Wheels Unleashed Game of the Year edition, which includes more than this particular package, was free on Stadia Pro. We just can't buy it because the whole storefront's been shut down, so we won't go into that. But
we had one day to claim it.
We had one day to claim it. Here we are. PlayStation, you can play it anywhere as part of PlayStation Plus. This game looks super fun. We're going to play it actually later on today as part of our stream. So if you're watching this on the Tuesday, there's a first look up on the channel right now with us playing with the wonderful community. Richie, Hot Wheels Unleashed.
Yeah.
Looks super fun, right?
I've intentionally not looked that much into it. Once I heard that it was coming to PlayStation Plus and it was coming to Stadia Pro, and then we decided we're going to do content around it as part of a celebration stream, I've intentionally went, I don't want to look too much into this. I want to go in as fresh as I can tonight. Mm-hmm. But from what I have seen, it looks awesome.
Yeah, it does.
I've heard some great things from our Discord as well.
You got IGN giving it a 9 out of 10. And it's actually had some Game of the Year nominations for last year, which is saying a lot for a kart racer. It kind of just came out of nowhere with a good bit of that Micro Machines V3 energy from the early 90s and applied it to Hot Wheels. Rob, did you have any Hot Wheels as a kid?
But yeah, I had loads, and they all ended up in the garden, lost or broken, and with one wheel between 6 cars or something like that. I used to have the loop as well, where you smacked it down and it shot
shoots
around.
it out.
So that was cool.
Nice. That was always one of those that was on the Argos adverts for Christmas. The girls would get their dolls and stuff, and the boys would get the Hot Wheels.
Yeah,
or the
it never
Micro
actually
Machines.
worked either, as it should have. For some reason, it just never. Yeah, and then you always kicked it over when you were angry as a child.
Exactly. Never stayed on the track.
I never actually played the Hot Wheels Unleashed. As you said, it was kind of like a sleeper hit almost in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. But again, it's a perfect game, just for lack of a better word, dick around with. There's no seriousness about it. It's just a nice, fun title, right? Yeah,
there's a few people in our chat right now saying been playing it all morning. Once you figure out the system, once you've figured out a system, we'll be buying it wherever. Fletch says, the game's awesome, phenomenal at launch. And the few of the podcasts I listened to, they just kind of sang its praises with just crazy, zany fun that when we play it later on today, it is just going to be fun.
It feels like a game that knows exactly what it is and what it needs to be and just didn't try to do anything other than that. It's you know what? It's Hot Wheels. It's stupid fun. It's crazy. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be wacky. So we'll lean into it.
Yeah. And that's what you want. It's obviously more arcadey. It's not simulator. What I love with these type of games, and what I used to love about Micro Machines, is it does that Honey, I Shrunk the Kids spectacle where you are a Hot Wheels toy on a plastic track in a living room, a kitchen, a garden, and you
bathtub.
Anything can happen. And I used to love the Micro Machines levels where you would slip on a bit of gravy spilt on the kitchen table, or you'd get stuck in some butter, or you could be a tank that fired peas out instead, and you drive over rulers and stationery on a school table and such. And it is that Honey, I Shrunk the Kids of that wonder of everything else around you is big, but you're still in cars which are traditionally bigger than you. It's a fun concept.
What Micro Machines and what Hot Wheels has done is took the imagination of a kid playing with the toys and made it into a game.
Which is the best form of games, right? It's taking that childhood imagination and embodying it into something you can play. I can't wait. I'm not sure if it's got kind of weapons like Mario Kart or anything, or if it is just drifting and nitro boosting around to win the race. But it seems from the art and the trailers, it seems very chaotic fun as such. But yeah, don't think we'll do any track editing on our live stream. But it says face up to 12 opponents online, so we'll definitely do some competition.
Might do in the future.
Oh yeah, I mean if it's well received, why not? But that's one of your first PlayStation Plus games for the month of October. So enjoy that one. Fill your boots. Go race around. Moving on though, we've got the second title of the month is Injustice 2. Follow-up to Injustice 1, Gods Among Us. The creators of the Mortal Kombat universe return to the DC world with the biggest superhuman roster ever. Select from the twisted versions of iconic heroes and supervillains and bring epic-scale battles to the awe-inspiring locations around the globe. Take on other players locally and online, or immerse yourself in the story-driven single-player campaign as Batman struggles against Superman's regime. You'll even gear up. You'll earn gear in every match to equip, customize, and evolve your roster. So, if I recall, Injustice 2, it's essentially if Superman landed in Russia instead of the United States, I believe is the storyline. And he has, yeah, kind of pretty much that. And in this game, I've heard great things about the story campaign, which is someone who's shit at fighting games, really annoys me. I feel like I'm just going to end up watching it on YouTube or something, but I see it all the time. Facebook algorithms always point me towards Injustice clips of like random characters like the Flash fighting the Joker, and there's some random live streamer somewhere in the world watching along and reacting to it, and I'm thinking like, why do these always pop up in my algorithm? But it's apparently got a great storyline. It's very well received.
Facebook thinks you like it. And you know how aggressive
that's true.
Facebook's algorithm is? If you hover on a video for more than like a second, it'll assume this is everything that you want to see ever
in the world. Yeah, but Injustice 2, Rob, are you a big DC fan? Or I know you're into UFC stuff. Do these Mortal Kombat Injustice games do anything for you?
I played Injustice 2 till it was like dust in terms of like replayability. I hammered that game when it first came out, and it, as you said, it's a superb game. It got really great reviews, but it is a 5-year-old game.
Well, we must be due Injustice 3 soon, right? That's because they've done the Mortal Kombat, so we think they're on to the next Injustice. Like, because they do it game by game, don't they? NetherRealm, they bounce back between Injustice and Mortal Kombat. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure we're on the Injustice run.
I'd like to think this is like bringing Injustice 2 to PlayStation Plus might be them kind of like getting start at 10 on the hype tap for Injustice 3 reveal potentially at Game Awards, maybe.
Yeah, I mean they're not doing a DC fandom. They've missed that boat now, haven't they? They did one for like 2-3 years through lockdown, but I feel like that's gone now. So there's no DC fandom. So maybe Comic Con's been and gone as well, right? Now we're in October.
I do think the next big thing might literally be. I mean, it's October the 1st now, so at the time of recording, next big thing might be Game Awards. Like,
I mean, we're still rumored to be getting a PlayStation Showcase at some point.
Could be there, yeah.
And if this is showing up on PS Plus, that might be some kind of like behind the door deal for showing Injustice 3 at something. But I'm not one for fighting games. I know we've mentioned it before. I just kind of bash every button and hope for the best.
I'm a button masher when it comes to fighting games.
Yeah. But what I do really appreciate is just the story that it tries to tell with it. For all better for worse, DC, what they're trying to do with the cinematic universe. The video game one seems to have a much better grasp on what they're trying to do and what they're trying to tell.
Yeah, definitely.
Because this Black Adam movie just looks like absolute trash. It really does. I saw is it Pierce Brosnan's playing Dr. Fate, and I think his helmet doesn't even have eye holes in it, and there's loads of people saying like, I know he's supposed to be able to predict the future, so he doesn't need to see, but I feel like it's still a sense.
Why does he need a helmet then? If
I would like to have
future?
Yeah,
he's got to look cool, Rob. He's got to look cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that movie's gonna bomb, but either way,
it won't bomb because it's a Rock, but it'll be terrible.
I mean, even the Rock, I feel like is pushing it a little bit with.
Well, the thing is, DC films tend to do quite well in the box office, and then everyone comes out and goes, it's fine.
You haven't seen Wonder Woman 84 yet, have you, Richie?
No, because of the terrible reviews, and I was like, I'm not bothered. I'd already thrown the towel in with the DCEU at that point. It was like,
yeah, that's 2 hours of my life I am not getting back. That's for certain. But thankfully, it's not a game, unlike Injustice 2. And your final game for the month of October to claim on PlayStation Plus is Super Hot. Blurring the lines between cautious strategy and unbridled mayhem, Super Hot is the first-person shooter in which time moves only when you move. No regenerating health bars, no conveniently placed ammo drops. It's just you, outnumbered and outgunned, grabbing the weapons of the fallen enemies to shoot, slice, and maneuver your way through a hurricane of slow motion bullets. Super Hot's polished, minimalistic visual language helps you concentrate on the most important thing, on the fluidity of gameplay and the cinematic beauty of the fight. Super Hot. Have either of you two checked Super Hot out before? It's quite an older game.
On Stadia.
On Stadia?
Yeah.
And
I think you've shown me it before on PlayStation VR as well.
Yes, I was going to get to it. That's the thing for me. I can see a few people in the chat saying, yeah, Super Hot's great, it's fantastic. It's even better in VR, just because there's something uniquely special about it. Makes you feel like you're in the Matrix almost.
Yeah, I played it first
in control of it.
well.
It's so good in VR because you are just fully immersed, and every time you kind of just lean your head slightly, time speeds up, and you realize that my motion is it's so good and immersive.
I wonder weird learning thing you have to go through as well, right? Where you have to see something heading towards you, and your instinct is to move really quickly.
Yeah,
but you can't
because
that speeds it up.
And yeah, so it's a weird kind of thing in VR.
It's basically a strategy game. Like it's almost like a turn-based strategy where okay, you have to think about your move before you make it. But I wonder why they didn't go for the VR version. It's probably because it won't carry forward to VR too. But
yeah, I'm not sure if we've actually had Super Hot on VR before. I don't recall if I bought it or I just had it in my library at some point. But it's an older game, so no surprise. But yeah, it's a great game. I'm surprised we haven't actually got a sequel. We must be due a sequel some point soon. But yeah, Super Hot, rounding out the kind of 3 PlayStation Plus monthly games. If you've not checked out, by the sounds of it, any of these 3 games, they're definitely worth a bit of your time to see if you can get a vibe for it. Played Super Hot, loved it. Injustice, I know, is not for me, and I'm looking forward to playing Hot Wheels Unleashed. What they didn't do as part of this blog is they didn't tell us the mid-month games again. So this cadence from PlayStation, since we went to this new PlayStation Plus tier model, they just kind of don't really know what they're doing. Some months they tell us everything in one go. Then other months they kind of hang around until the 15th or 16th of the month and then tell us the additional games for premium and extra members. And I just can't shake this feeling that it's all so convoluted still, even 3-4 months in. And I also don't really know why I paid extra for the premium tier, because I'm not seeing the true benefits of it.
Yeah, at the moment, that's the thing. We all went for the premium tier because obviously we're into cloud gaming. We believe in the cloud gaming future. And now, but the cloud gaming offering on PlayStation is a little lackluster, to be honest. It definitely needs improvement, especially when you're not at a PlayStation. Which is kind of, when I'm at a PlayStation, I don't necessarily need to be gaming in the cloud. So it's it is starting to question, is premium the way to go for that? Yeah. Now, I'm probably going to stick with it.
You have to till next August, right?
Yeah, because
because you paid for it, so there's nothing you can do now.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean.
That's what Sony's plan is. You can do literally nothing.
Yeah. What are the chances?
If I was paying monthly at the moment for it, I think I'd stick with it because I want to see it grow. I want Sony to know that I want this. That I want the cloud gaming stuff to go. I don't want them to go, well, no one's subscribing to the premium tier because we've done a lackluster job.
Yeah, it's safe to say next kind of July, August, there's going to be some really good news coming to PlayStation Plus, because it's the time everyone's going to be expected to renew. And just like Disney Plus, they're going to drop loads of content, loads of perks, loads of updates. So people go, oh, it's really worth it now. Subscribe for another whole year and then do fuck all with it for another month.
I mean, it is still early days with
it is,
the premium version. As over the next couple of months, we might see the offering, because they are continuing to add more cloud gaming stuff in there. Specifically, I think the focus is around the PS3, because it's not very compatible with PS4 and PS5. So cloud gaming is able to bridge that gap there to bring that stuff.
Absolutely.
I'd like to see some more of the PlayStation classics from PS4 go cloud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
I'd like to see an upgrade.
Isn't there?
Yeah,
that's the issue.
I'd like to see an upgrade of the PC app. I'd like to see the phone, the Android and iPhone apps be able to play through the cloud. I think that could be a huge selling point.
Yeah, it really
use
could.
cloud on the go, and then you go home to pick up your PS5.
Well, that is kind of the dream, isn't it? And we've been spoilt on the channel by covering like other platforms and utilizing Stadia as much as we have. And there's a couple of people in our chat, Doc Holiday and Sarge, saying, yeah, the biggest thing with kind of the PlayStation layout is you can't, like, I can play on my PS5, great, I can have a great time. But then when I leave and I go on the move or I'm portable and I'm using a Razer Kishi or something, I can't just load up the PlayStation app on my phone and play games. Like, I just can't do it unless I'm doing remote play, which it doesn't really work on all fronts. And it's crazy to think that Google, apparently with this failed service that's through in the towel, have been doing it for 3 years now. And PlayStation, with all their millions in IP and industry expertise, it's still a bit lackluster. And yet everyone's paid for that higher premium subscription to get the benefits of cloud gaming. And they're not really utilized, but they don't have to because they're the market leader. So they get they sit on their throne and go, ha ha ha, you'll buy it anyway.
I feel like what it is at the moment is like the gold standard of cloud gaming is gaming anywhere, wherever you are, whichever kind of situation you're in. And
it's seamless experience, seamless UI across all devices.
Like... PlayStation Plus just feels like a bit of a crappy PC port really. Like that's what I get from it.
I'd argue a part of it is probably because I think before Stadia came around, before Luna was announced, before xCloud was announced, it felt like PlayStation Now very much had the nails in the coffin. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly the world goes, "Oh, cloud gaming is going to be the future," and Sony's like, "Pass me the claw hammer. I need to get these nails out now."
Yeah.
And they haven't quite figured out. They're still working on it, I think. Like,
yeah, I'm hoping by again the 10 of the year we're going to see something like again there has to be a jumping point when PS5 games come to the cloud, because as they migrate over, we're now 2 years plus into the PlayStation 5 life cycle, they're going to like beyond God of War, they're going to start leaving last gen behind. At what point does surely every month that ticks by, their cloud gaming offering becomes more redundant by nature of it's another month older, and their current roster of games ain't playable on it. So as a consumer who's paying them money for the cloud gaming experience, it starts to get to a point where you're like, I'm basically paying you more for your old stuff, but all your new stuff's gate kept behind this console, which is like not why people might be paying for the premium. And for their benefit, it surely opens the door up to more people. If I can play PS5 games without the need of a console, they're seeing success with PC right now. That's the dream, is your IP is spread out anywhere and everywhere, which means less barrier to entry, more opportunities to play your games, more people in the PlayStation ecosystem. That's exactly what Xbox is doing right now with play on any device, anywhere, with Game Pass. They're ticking their boxes.
Because of it.
Yeah, they're turning the tide. It's crazy to see.
Yeah. But I kind of want as well, when they bring out I think it's inevitable that they will bring out a PlayStation Plus mobile app that can play games through the cloud.
Absolutely.
I think they need to make sure it's compatible with third-party controllers.
Yeah. I mean, they launched the Backbone PlayStation Edition just 2 months ago. So that could be seen as like their first step into committing to hardware and tech for it. So
that's why I think it's inevitable, because why would you bring that out if you're not planning to bring the experience over? So.
Absolutely. Tom in the chat makes a great point. It's frankly frustrating that you can't use your DualSense with it yet. Like, that's mad that you cannot use the most current modern PlayStation controller with their cloud offering, because they just...
Really?
Yeah, your DualSense doesn't work on PC.
It doesn't work at all. You have to download a different app to kind of emulate this into a DualSense controller, which just seems insane.
That's insane. I haven't tried, because I've only really tried the cloud offering in my office, and I have DualShock 4s lying around up here, so I was like, that's what I just used.
Yeah, I just use it. It's an app called DualSense X, which
works
great. Don't get me wrong, but
you shouldn't have
stupid.
To.
Yeah, like it's ridiculous.
I played, so when I was doing PlayStation Cloud, when it first folded into the premium subscription, I ended up playing with my Xbox controller, because it's synced to my Microsoft, obviously Windows PC, super easy. And it just worked, whereas the DualShock didn't. The DualSense didn't. The DualShock 4, even with the emulator, still had a few issues in the menus, like backing out and stuff. So after a while, it was like, fuck this. I'm just going to go back to my console.
I wonder if it's
what cursed timeline is that where you have to play like that?
Yeah, it's so messed up.
Yeah. I wonder if it's a Windows driver issue or something.
I think it's a Sony issue.
Because you can use remote play on your phone with a DualSense.
That's because Bluetooth, though. Whereas this is trying to go
just
natively
PS,
through.
But
PS Plus
PlayStation
app,
games are coming out on PC now, so having full compatibility of DualSense with PC makes sense.
Oh, we know this.
Yeah.
But again, this
Anyway,
is a day of criticising bad business practices, it would appear. Speaking of, next story of the week, away from your PlayStation Plus games, everyone. Yo ho, it's not a pirate's life for Skull and Bones. It's been delayed. The much beleaguered pirate game from Ubisoft that was announced on the back of the success of Black Flag back in when did Black Flag even come out? I feel like I was playing it at my parents' house that long ago. I've lived in my house now for 7 years. That's how long ago this was announced and supposed to be coming out. On
2013.
2013, Ubisoft's multiplayer pirate action game Skull and Bones has been delayed once more, with Ubisoft officially confirming on the website. Originally scheduled for a November 8th release, it's been pushed back. The anchor's been dropped now on March the 9th, 2023, which will see it go back into the oven for another additional 5+ months. The team has made a tough decision in order to spend more time polishing and balancing the experience ahead of a worldwide launch. The extra few months will allow the studio to deliver the best possible experience. The silver lining is that the open beta test will be taking place in the near future, which probably would have been the normal launch. No details have been provided yet, but considering the game was mere weeks away from launch, we imagine we'll hear more about it very soon. Richie, are you surprised by this?
Nope.
Does this add anything to the launch of Skull and Bones, or is this just is this tying another brick around the neck that is this game?
I think the thing I'm most surprised at is that they're actually delaying it, because I kind of got the feeling that they were just putting this game out to die a bit. Like, it's almost there, it's almost playable, let's just get it out so we can move on. That's the impression I've got from it. But
I mean,
I really hope it's a good game. But
£70 if you want to play this game. £70 for that's £10 for every year it's been in development, and the rest.
And the rest. It's almost 9 years.
You know what? We've said before many times on this podcast and other ones. Like, if it had a pirate campaign single player and then builds all of this online multiplayer off the back of, I'd be all in on this. I'd be like, that sounds awesome. Like, give me a ship to control like Black Flag. Let me go out on the high waters, but there's story beats along the way, and I'm sure it's got narrative threads with these side missions and campaigns. But at this point, with these delays, kind of similar to my vibe I am with the Mafia stuff we joke about over on Stadia, Richie, I just don't give a shit about this game anymore. I'm like, I'm done. I'm over it. I'll go and play Black Flag if I want a good pirate game, or Sea of Thieves with Game Pass now.
I think the only thing trying to keep my interest is when this was coming to Stadia, which now it's not, was that we were probably going to do content around it. But I think our plan was we'll get Ubisoft Plus for a month, we'll play it, see what it's like. Because it was probably the biggest game coming to Stadia this year. But, well, Stadia's not going to be around when this game launches, so...
No. This game has outlived the rise and fall of Google Stadia. In the announcement
the crazy thing is, right? But this game, like, the era where this game is set, like that kind of like peak age of piracy, only lasted 70 years. And, like, this game has taken 10% of that entire era to actually like make it, and it's still not out.
And you know what?
The thing is, it has to be better than Sea of Thieves at this point in order to even have a chance.
I don't think it's going to be. I mean, Sea of Thieves was rough at launch, but they put that much investment in the season pass stuff. It's now in a great place, especially with Game Pass. It's well worth checking out. But
exactly, you have to compare it to Sea of Thieves as it is now, not at launch, because otherwise people playing Sea of Thieves will just go back to playing Sea of Thieves.
Absolutely. And Rob, with that analogy there, it just makes me think like Ubisoft have probably spent more money on development of the game than any pirate in the world ever had in their treasure pile. Like, all the pirates in the Caribbean combined, all of the stuff they stole from pirating probably doesn't amount to the millions Ubisoft have ploughed into this game's development.
The average career length for a pirate is probably less than 7 years. Considering
it probably is. Yeah.
Involved.
I've just seen in the comments of the Push Square article we've been reading from, someone was just commenting, "Oh, thank God! Now God of War Ragnarok has a chance."
Yeah. So again, this game 2013, God of War 2018 came out in 2018. We're going to get another God of War game, the Game of the Year winning quality title. in the time it's taken them to get this damn thing out of the dock. And it's just, it honestly baffling. I think it's
works of art, isn't it? Like there's 2 Rembrandts being created, and there's like this kid with a crayon just still pushing away at this game.
I really hope this is a good game, and that the reason that they're delaying it is because it needs that little bit more time to get it bang on what they want it to be when it launches.
Yeah. And let's be honest,
Ubisoft rarely do nail it like that. They usually do 7 to 8 out of 10 sort of games.
Yeah, the rating reflects how long it's been in development for usually. So 7 years, win-win. But yeah, like you said, Richie, I want it to do well. I do hope it comes out and it's like, I read reviews and it's like, 10 out of 10. It's the best experience I've had. You feel like a real pirate. The online community, it's so good. But
I want to read reviews from people who aren't persistent world multiplayer gamers going, you need to play this.
Yeah, but we'll have a little bit longer to wait, and obviously, I mean, it's probably for the betterment they get out of the way of God of War. Not that they're really related, but let's face it, everyone on PlayStation is probably be playing Ragnarok that week. So yeah, it's possibly a small win there. But speaking of weird timelines, the next so Black Flag came out 2013. Yeah, Richie.
Yeah.
The Last of Us 2013 also. Then we got 2014, The Last of Us Remastered.
So wait a sec. The Last of Us has come out twice.
Well, 3 times at this point, because we've got Remastered 2014, then Last of Us Part 2 in 2019, I think, with Ghost of Tsushima, 2020, either way. And then this year, we got The Last of Us Part 1 Remastered in the time it took them to do this. And that brings us on to our next story, which is The Last of Us HBO series got its first official trailer this week, which means we now have a good look at Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey playing Joel and Ellie respectively. They teased us as on Outbreak Day. Not only did Naughty Dog drop some new GIFs of the Last of Us crew, some updates, some artwork, and other goodies, we got a genuine trailer from HBO, and this show just looks great. Rob, you're a big HBO fan as well. What does the clout HBO brings and the story The Last of Us is, what does it do for your TV viewership? Thoughts?
I think like it just captures every mood of the game perfectly, and don't have like there's no other words for it. It's just like that trailer, like it's a perfect adaptation, and like people have always said kind of like HBO's done a lot to like kind of elevate those like titles like in TV to like a new kind of standard, and it just looks like they're continuing, and I have absolute faith in them to deliver on this.
Yeah, 100%. I think we were talking before we came back live, and I was saying this: if I wasn't already a fan of The Last of Us, I'd still be excited to watch this show.
Yeah, like my dad will love that show.
I think that's the testament. Yeah, I think this is the testament of where it needs to be. Great. You already sold on to me and Chris and Rob because we've all played The Last of Us. We like the game. We're looking forward to this. But it's the people who don't game. Yeah. You need to get them on board with this as well, and I think this will absolutely nail it.
Yeah, it looks
it's kind of got like all the people who still watch The Walking Dead, if it's still going. I think we'll look at this and go, "Holy shit, I'm in."
Yeah.
I still watch The Walking Dead, by the way.
You do? It's season 11 live now, isn't it? Like that's a thing. I feel like I've seen advertised. Is it 12? Is it? I know something. I've seen promotions on Disney Plus for something.
Like 7 more episodes to go in the entire thing, I think, or something.
Wow. I might watch it eventually, but I give up on that season.
I won't bother.
I give up with The Whisperers, with that halfway through that season.
I give up after season 2.
That was good.
Season 2 was just boring.
That was probably a good bet on your part, Richie. But yeah, the Last of Us one looks great. I think the clickers they introduced look pretty much what I'd expect them to look like. The tone and theme of the show is spot on. I love some of the almost like the one-for-one shots from the game where we know Neil Druckmann's heavily involved in this, which you can almost see. That I'm so glad they've like actually brought Naughty Dog staff on board and the director of the game, so you can almost like steward it to make it like what he wants. And the showrunners from Chernobyl, Pedro Pascal. It's not Diego Luna. Who's the other? He's playing Tommy. The other Luna, Gabriel Luna. That's it. I got there in my own thought process. And Bella Ramsey's phenomenal in Game of Thrones. So I'm really seeing how she kind of ups her game with her acting chops, because she was fantastic in that, and I'm just interested to see what she brings with Ellie's character.
And, I mean, if you need to know how good Bella Ramsey is as an actress, watch the King of the North scene from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, absolutely.
She fucking nails it.
And Bill as well, just perfect casting on that as well. Absolutely great. Can't wait for it. And I think recently I'm watching like House of Dragon as well, and just seeing that kind of HBO polish on it, and we know what Game of Thrones looked like visually. It's like, I can't believe we're in this moment where it's like, man, TV nowadays is just so leaps and bounds
TV used to
beyond
be a
what
bit
it
of
ever
a
has
punching
been.
bag compared to movies, didn't it? Like you became a TV actor because your movie career failed, where if anything, it's the opposite now.
Yeah, you've got more variety
stronger.
to pick, isn't it? Career choice and stuff. It's crazy. Like someone like Bryan Cranston could not have like I think Malcolm in the Middle to Breaking Bad, and then he's gone on and done movies and then came back to TV and stuff. It was like, that's someone who from Malcolm in the Middle would have probably just been resigned to doing bit part character roles, and instead because of the elevation of quality of TV, his career just exploded thanks to the quality of like Vince Gilligan and Netflix and such.
I think there's actually a lot of examples of comic actors turn out to be really good actors, because I think in order to carry comedy to that level, you have to be a great actor.
Jim Carrey.
I was thinking Jim Carrey as well.
Yeah,
Robin Williams.
Yeah, in
Correct.
Good Will Hunting. Yeah. It's great stuff. So I can't wait to see who's the guy who plays Bill. He's the one name I'm blanking on.
I'm terrible with actors' names.
From Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec.
Oh, I know what you mean. Ron Swanson.
Nick Offerman.
Yeah, Offerman. There we go. So he's great with names. Yeah. I can't. I think he's perfect casting for that. I cannot wait to do it. And I've just finished playing The Last of Us with my wife as well. So she's seen it. She's played it all through. Like, I did the fighty bits. I'll be honest. She did the exploration bits. But getting to the end, like, we were talking about like the layers of like the relationship with Ellie and Joel and what it meant, and the wider problem it caused, and the bit at the end and all the twists and stuff, and meeting the characters along the way. And she could see that kind of Naughty Dog thread throughout it, like from like the quality that Uncharted has, but then in a more serious tone. So then, funnily enough, the night we finished it was when this trailer dropped. So I was able to go like, oh, we've just finished the game, check this out. And it was like, sweet, that looks good. So definitely on the watch list to go. But we've got the Left Behind DLC. And again, how many people are going to go watch this and then go, oh, is there a game based on this? And they have the best version possible in the Part 1 remake. So we'll see more on that. We'll also see more of PlayStation Stars, because it started rolling out. It's already available in Asia, Asian markets, and it's coming to Europe on, I did put the date in the doc, but I've lost it, 13th of October. So 2 weeks' time, we should have this PlayStation Stars rolling out. We don't really know what it's going to look like over in Europe, but I can't imagine it's going to be that different. We're going to earn all these digital rewards and stuff. However, it is causing a bit of a stir, because apparently if you're part of the PlayStation Plus program, if you earn loads of trophies and perks, you go up a tier. And apparently if you're on tier 4 or above, you get priority customer service support, and people aren't happy with that.
Yeah, that feels like a weird move. Customer service should never be prioritized from person to person. It should be first come, first serve, ideally.
It's just an odd thing all around.
Yeah.
Guess the logic internally, like, and this should never be made public, but I guess like if you buy more games and you get more trophies, in theory you should need
you're a better customer, right?
More complicated, and you should need more complicated customer support, because if you're that familiar with the platform and you're on it,
I'd argue if you need to have a priority customer support service, it means that people are relying too much on your customer support to begin with.
Not necessarily priority, but just a more complicated.
Yeah,
activity.
I mean the metrics for it are: you need to reach level 4, which requires you to buy 4 full-priced games and unlock 128 rare trophies. You'll be given priority should you need to contact customer support. So basically, they're talking about Jeff. Jeff's the only one I know who's going to buy 4 full-price games and get 128 trophies. So if he ever needs to ring
the 4
up,
games is probably possible, but I doubt the trophies.
I don't think I've ever had to ring customer service support for any video game thing ever. It's usually quite self-manageable. Weird.
Yeah.
Weird. But again, it's one that makes me chuckle. I don't know what these digital packs can look like. The only thing I'm interested in is getting some cash monetary value to reinvest in the game. So if I get a platinum trophy and I get £2 for it, then that's £2 off my next purchase in the PlayStation Store, or for Richie's 1 year subscription to Premium that he's inevitably going to do next year and then begrudge it anyway.
It's the thing is, I mean, theoretically, depending how much you can actually get, because I think you can convert. It seems like there'll be like a reward system where you can convert your points into rewards. I'd imagine similarly like the Google ad sent reward things where you get the points and you can like trade them in for Google Play store money.
Mm-hmm.
If theoretically, if you're playing enough games in the air, it might be able to cover your PlayStation Plus membership, or at least.
I mean, yeah, well, again, that's the dream, isn't it? It's like you play enough on the platform that you're rewarded with free access to stuff that you would otherwise pay for. And at the end of the day, if you save money, that's a win. Like, you're not spending money, so...
I hope they do what the Nintendo do with theirs, actually, is when you buy a physical Nintendo game, you can actually redeem the points through the Switch to get the rewards as well. So it's not... You don't have to just use the PlayStation Store. I hope they do that. So whether you buy a physical or digital version of a game, you should get the same points because you still bought the game.
Yeah, absolutely. But we'll find out soon, 2 weeks' time. I'm curious to see how it pops up on my kind of like PlayStation interface and see how it works exactly. But I'm not expecting loads from it. It might get better over time, but at least it's a thing. Xbox do it, Nintendo do it, like you said.
They're trying something. We know it's not linked to like blockchain or NFTs. None of the rewards are tradable or anything like that. So it's yet. But at the moment, there's basically no harm in it.
No, not at all. Moving on, drifting our way into the next story, the next Need for Speed game reveal is rumoured to be imminent, and it's going to be launching in December. Now, we've been covering this for quite a few weeks on the show where there's been leaks and rumours. Reportedly titled Need for Speed Unbound, which I don't think we knew the name ahead of time, the rumoured name as such. It's set for a release, according to industry insider Tom Henderson, he's pretty much got the last 50 things he reported on bang on, so no surprise with this one. 2nd of December, an official reveal will be reportedly taking place within the next 2 weeks, and the game will be called Need for Speed Unbound. Featuring rapper ASAP, and the S is a $sign, Rocky on the soundtrack. Henderson even leaks the length of the announcement trailer, 2 to 3 minutes apparently. Need for Speed Unbound will feature unique maps and completely unique which are completely unique to the Need for Speed franchise. Previous rumours pegged Need for Speed game as one focused heavily on multiplayer with some anime elements. So we don't know much more, but it seems like this game's being kept very under wraps. Like, when I think of Need for Speed games, I always expect them to launch in the kind of November window, along with Call of Duty. I always think it's that kind of like late autumn, start of winter, when we've always got them in the past. Like, it's not a game that usually launches in February or something like that. So, Need for Speed Unbound. How's the name sit with you, Richie?
It sounds alright. I'm not a big Need for Speed guy, so like I don't really have any skin in this game, but I'm curious to see what they mean by these anime elements, because that's a very broad statement, to be honest.
Yeah, flames shooting out.
If you drift enough, if you drift enough, like Goku, like just teleports you to the finish.
I think that's that. You're thinking very niche anime there specifically.
What, Dragon Ball niche anime?
No, I mean like applying it to cars. Like you specifically go to the finish line if you drift in a particular way. Again, it's not really much more to say on this. If it's leaning into multiplayer, like with a racing game, I think it's not as bad. Well, I know we sometimes lament games that go like all multiplayer and they're like, oh, but we prefer single player titles. With a racing game, I think it's kind of multiplayer actually benefits that kind of genre a lot more, because you've got that input from other people and races, and at the end of the day, they can't really kill you or cheat. They just have to be better at racing than you. So it's quite set in the way you play the game. But yeah, Rob, Need for Speed Unbound. I was going to say Underground then. Underbound. Where are we at with it?
I've liked Need for Speed games in the past, but like, just can't get excited about this. And the fact that we're getting like a trailer for it, release in a couple of months, doesn't really build much hype around it. It seems like it's coming out very quickly. Anime elements, I'm not sure about. Like, just don't see how that's going to work.
We've seen them try and do stuff different in recent years with like Need for Speed Heat. They tried to go with like live action, so there wasn't animated footage; it was real actors cutting with cutscenes and trying to make it a bit more like a TV drama in a weird way. and then you did the race after the cutscene, and it was like it was reviewed quite well, Need for Speed Heat, but yeah, I think the franchise as a whole has just kind of lost its purpose a little bit.
It seems like the core marketing features are like ASAP Rocky, which
it does nothing.
Who's that serving? Like as a like racing game fans, unique tracks. I hope so.
It's a brand new game
release. Yeah, it's like I'd hope they're going to be unique.
Well, I'm okay with it not being unique tracks. If you think like things like Tony Hawk's, very rarely do that sort of game do you get a track recorded for that game. But as long as it's got an awesome soundtrack, I think that's good enough.
Am I getting this completely wrong here?
Yeah. No,
is it music tracks or
is it tracks? As in the racing track.
I was thinking, because it was the soundtrack. I was thinking the soundtrack, not the racing track. Well, it better have bloody unique racing tracks.
It says unique maps in the release. So sorry, I just.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, it should have unique maps. It's a brand new game, but in terms of soundtracks. It should. I mean, at the same time, it should also have some new stuff because it's a brand new game. But either way, we'll have to find out soon. Hopefully, not too long, 2 weeks or so. Again, it could be pointing towards a PlayStation Showcase. You know, guys. Like realistically, like why would EA randomly shut off on their own when Sony might look to just partner with them exclusively on marketing for this? If it's in like 2 weeks, seems about right.
What if this came out day one for PlayStation Plus?
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think EA need the money for that.
I think isn't it skipping PS4?
Yeah, which is probably a good thing, really.
That puts it even off, like less likely to be on PlayStation Plus. Really.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But either way, money will talk as they go around. Next story. We have another money-related issue. GTA publisher 2K have pulled out of the next People Can Fly project after 2 years. So Take-Two Interactive, who publish GTA and Borderlands and such, have pulled out of development and a publishing agreement with People Can Fly. So these are the guys who recently made Outriders and Gears of War Judgment. A financial update from People Can Fly state that Take-Two is ditching the project after 2 years of work, but that development will continue on the game. Codenamed Project Dagger, the game is said to be a new action-adventure IP, which People Can Fly now retain the rights to. It sounds like Take-Two had the option to purchase these rights, which has not been exercised. And a quote from People Can Fly head CEO, we strongly believe in Project Dagger's potential and are now committed to continue its development with our self-publishing pipeline. The game is still in pre-production. Our team is now focusing on closing combat and game loops and migrating from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5. I'm conscious that this decision will add investment on us, but self-publishing is part of our strategy. Of course, we're not ruling out working with a new publisher if this creates a compelling business opportunity. So Project Dagger has been developed by People Can Fly's New York office, and it employs 550 people across multiple cities. It sounds like People Can Fly are just having a bad shake of the dice when it comes to business deals right now. We reported earlier this year that they got shafted with the Outriders deal with Square Enix, where they didn't ever get a payout for the game. And then now the second game, which is 2 years into development, the publisher's now gone, we're not going to publish this game, sorry. And then they're out.
I mean,
these guys.
If the game being in pre-development as well, it's like, is this a conceptual thing that Take-Two have looked at and went, no, not for us, or is it just a case of they've looked at Outriders and went, ooh, that didn't go well. No, we're not in. We're going to back out before we get too deep.
Yeah.
It's a shame because like the studio, like I like the guys and like they're doing they bring out good products, but just hope they have the resources to kind of sustain that cycle.
Outriders is fun as well. Like it has problems on launch, but it's a fun game.
It was reviewed.
I just hope they can can self-publish well, and it's not going to kind of create this kind of crippling cycle, which is my worry.
I think one of the things we said about Outriders was it actually wasn't actually marketed that strongly. In and around launch, it was kind of just there. I think the biggest marketing it had was it went free on Game Pass day one, which had that whole Microsoft clout behind it and millions of people jumping on. And it has that kind of, it's in the ether of conversation because it's free for like every Xbox player out there pretty much.
And there was a lot of confusion on the run up to, is it a games as a service? Because it was looking like it and they were like, no, it's not.
We thought so for the longest time it was.
Yeah, until they came out and said, no, it's not. Because it's an online it's an online experience. So it's like once you've played through the content, that was just kind of it. So that's why I think it just fell off a cliff, because there's no reason for people to stick around.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's an interesting one. People can fly. They're one of those studios. They're clearly capable of making solid games. I wouldn't be surprised if they got bought out some point soon. Like, you can imagine right now, leadership are probably thinking, like, where is our future if we get shafted by this, our last game? We're struggling to get a publisher for this game. And I know it says it'll take on more burden and more costs. If there's someone sniffing out there for a decent game studio who they've got proof they can do it, Embracer, Sony, possibly, like just anyone who's looking to expand their portfolio, they seem like quite an easy get, because if you go to their leadership right now and say, we can offer you and your shareholders X amount of money, I bet they'd snap your hand off for just that future guarantee that you're going to be in business.
I mean, even whether you like Outriders or not, I think they've proven that they can make a game to the quality of AAA. And the reason I think of Embracer is, Saints Row kind of flopped out the gate. It was kind of that in between AAA, AA standard, and Embracer feel like they want to push into like AAA things. So a studio like this could help a lot.
Yeah,
let's not forget the skills you need to publish a game properly. That's like an entirely different kind of like team with different skills, and you have to like watch them from other teams, because there's not really those type of guys floating around to like just kind of bring into a business easily. It's publishing's hard, and there's a reason people don't do it.
Yeah, there's a totally different why developers and publishers are different branches of the industry, because they require different skill sets.
Yeah.
So, speaking of weird publishing and developer deals, we reported last week that EA and Koei Tecmo had entered a relationship randomly out of the blue. Like, EA have never done these partnerships before outside of some indie studios. And weirdly enough, under the EA Originals indie label, they partner with the well-known, well-established Koei Tecmo's Amiga Force, they're famous for the Dynasty Warriors titles, to produce a new game, which, within a week of us reporting that, now has an official name, a trailer and a release date, all happening within the next 5 months. Wild Hearts, a collaboration between Koei Tecmo, Amiga Force and EA's Originals, has been officially revealed with a new gameplay trailer. Inspired by the Monster Hunter series, it's set in feudal Japan and features hunters battling some kind of beautiful design creatures known as the kimono, and that will be fused bizarrely with nature, flora and fauna combined. If you've ever wanted to battle a giant pig with a paper umbrella, this is for you. Kimono range from plant-infused squirrels to the aforementioned King Tusk wild boar. Players fight against the Winter Wolf Deathstalker, which sets off their journey to restore the balance of the world. Set for release on 17th of February 2023 across PS5, Xbox and PC. The game's main unique concept is that the use of magical technology called karakuri to speedily manufacture gadgets, propellers for going through the air, an earth-pounding hammer or explosive bombs, variety of weapons, bows, umbrellas, katana will help you with crossplay and up to 3 players in a vibrant fantasy world that's untamed as it is beautiful. What have I just read?
Read like the word version of LSD trip right there, I feel.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's coming out in February. Like, just how quick
I wonder
of a
if like this
turnaround.
deal just came about because Koei were looking for like a publishing partner. It's like they probably had there must have been quite far along development if it's come out this soon. And he went, you know what, we could do for Monster Hunter competitor.
I mean, the gameplay trailer looks just as crazy as the written description.
Yeah,
like,
it does.
Very hard to kind of put into words and have an opinion of it, because it's just so kind of
random.
Trying to grasp water, it's just everything and all at once.
But you know what? Monster Hunter, for me, had the same vibe, and yet it was Capcom's biggest selling game of all time. Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So like, and it's seen Capcom have such a resurgence in popularity.
Monster Hunter is one of them games. I think it's been huge, like over in Japan, and it finally broke through with like, was it Rise? I think that kind of broke through with.
I think it was just Monster Hunter World, right?
Was it World?
And then Rise was the one on the Switch that got like a spin-off entry to benefit from the millions of
Monster
Switches.
Hunter, I think it's traditionally been on handheld platforms, which is probably why it hasn't done as well over in the West.
Yeah.
But then when they made it's like PS4 debut, it kind of went, people went, oh, I like this. Well, I mean, if you're into hunting huge, like interestingly designed monsters, leveling up your characters, crafting all that sort of stuff, I think there's a fantastic game in there. And same for Wild Hearts.
Absolutely. But yeah, interesting. And we won't have long. My word, February and March are just so stacked for games now, though. Like, I think so.
Now.
I mean, yeah, for now. But if you think, like, even just this week, we've now got Wild Hearts coming in February, and Skull and Bones is now in March. So that's 2 AAA titles that have now popped up to add to the ongoing list of like 15 plus games that are coming out in Q1 next year. Insane. What is also coming out in Q1 next year is Dead Space, the remake. And we've found out this week they released some screenshots to basically show how the upcoming game's coming along. We had a trailer at the Summer Game Fest announcements, and the PS5 remake won't contain, we found out this week, a single load screen unless you die by the hand of the Necromorphs, the original PS3 title, which came quite close to achieving this with its camera planted firmly behind Isaac Clarke's right shoulder. However, it means Dead Space is going to follow in the footsteps of God of War, which is going to commit to a single shot for the entire duration of the game. Of course, Ragnarok is going to do the same in November, but in an EA blog post, they mentioned the single shot not only allows you to freely explore the USG Ishimura, which I think is the spaceship that you're on, going wherever you like and backtracking for items you may have missed. It's now a completely unbroken experience, honouring the legacy of the original game. I think that sounds quite cool. Rob, I don't know about you, but I thought one of the amazing things I noticed with God of War was that one-shot camera where I felt immersed for the entire of the playthrough. And I'm actually surprised more games haven't done this since. But I guess it takes a specific skill set and design.
It's a huge undertaking.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I get more and more excited about this game. Every single morsel of information I get, I just get more hyped for it. And I've never been this hyped for like a remake game before.
Well, you won't have to wait long.
Do you think it's because it's a remake of a beloved classic, and they seem to be doing all the right things?
Yeah, I feel like you get like right now, like you're conditioned to be a bit cautious of remakes and things like that. But and somebody does it right, which it looks like, all intents and purposes, they are doing it right. Like, can't help but get excited about like an amazing game brought into amazing tech. It's like a golden combo, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And 27th of January, not too far away, and you'll be able to play it on your new shiny PS5 as well.
Well.
So exciting stuff. Are you going for Callisto Protocol at the beginning of December then? Without having such similar and it's a spiritual successor vibes? Or are you are you happy sticking with the alien you know as such on this one?
I think I'm going to play Dead Space first, which will kind of spark off the interest to stay within that little genre.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'll lead me into Callisto. I think a lot of people will go the opposite way for it. It's mainly because I don't have like the time schedule to give to Callisto. That's the issue.
I think a lot of people go the other way around just because Callisto comes first.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting how we're back in this kind of like resurgence of horror, and we've got 2 games that are probably going to be so similar
and so close together.
It's an interesting one.
We're definitely going to be talking in January about which one did the genre better.
Undoubtedly, they're going to have comparisons, but yeah, it's one that we'll probably look back on and see how the cards land on the table and what it looks like. All good, all good. We also covered on last week's show the PC release of a few games. We've got some confirmation. Sackboy, A Big Adventure, PC version is now slated for October 27th, so not too far to wait. But yeah, if you remember the Latin American PlayStation YouTube channel jumped the gun a little bit, and it showed a 30-second trailer last week, which we knew about, so we knew it was official. We knew the part was coming. PlayStation has since came out on all of the channels and stuff, and yeah, it's been confirmed, ported to PC, 27th of November this year. It's only been confirmed in one region, which was interesting, but the main channels look like they've corroborated that story. We mentioned Uncharted Thieves. Legacy of Thieves, collection is coming out just before it. That got confirmed for 19th of October. And also remember that there is a Returnal PC port that keeps leaking time and time again that we also know about. So Returnal, again, one of Sony's big tentpole games from last year. We're now seeing the screenshots and leaks coming out of the PC settings screen for Returnal, which shows you that you're able to adjust sliders and settings within a PC kind of world with frame rate, resolution, all that kind of jazz. It seems like PlayStation are going heavy for the PC port, because remember we also are getting Miles Morales. They dropped that trailer last week, So essentially, we could be getting 4 PlayStation exclusives launching on PC before Christmas this year. It just shows you that their PC initiative is skyrocketing, quite frankly.
Yeah, they seem all in. They just need to get a DualSense working properly then.
And the cloud game.
I feel like it should have been the first thing they figured out, but whatever.
Yeah.
Interesting. Where do you guys sit on Returnal? Because it's one of those that the Dark Souls-esque difficulty nature of it kind of put me right off it when it launched originally. I don't like the thought of just dying and having to start all again with all my loot gone. Although I love Housemarque games, there's just something about Returnal which it didn't tick enough boxes for me.
I think it's one of them, if you like the idea of a roguelike or roguelite, whichever way around it is for this, I think it's one of them you'd be all in, because I think it's as a 3D action adventure game based on the roguelike, and just it is meant to be that gameplay loop. But if you're not into that loop, like you go, I don't want to start again and start again and start again, then it's obviously not for you.
Yeah.
But it's like,
I swerved this massively because of that. Like watching me try to play like Bloodborne is like it's pathetic to watch. It's like just put me out of misery, like that type of game.
I think you have to be all about that gameplay loop for this to land, where I prefer to play through a good story. So the gameplay for me is something that supplements the story, means I get something more out of the story, where Returnal is all about the gameplay.
Absolutely. And our final story for the week, we discussed it a few weeks back, but Kena Bridge of Spirits is celebrating its 1 year out in the wild with a massive anniversary update. If you've not checked out Kena Bridge of Spirits, it's definitely up there on my recommendations. Richie, did you check it out, or did you say you were going to? I can't remember.
I played for a bit, but there was other things I was playing at the same time, so it is on my list of things to go back to.
It's a great game. The anniversary update comes with new additional outfits, spirit guide trials, different game modes, new game plus being the big ticket item as part of it, and if you're returning back to it, it looks super fun with the trials and rewards coming in the form of new charm stones, and most covered of all, some new hats for the rot characters to work, which are like your little collectible, don't know what you describe them as, little lumpy creatures that kind of follow you around. Either way, it's a Pixar movie made into a game, and then if you want to play it on its hardest difficulty, Richie, good luck with that, because that's when it turns into a Bloodborne Dark Souls game.
It's not an easy game to begin with. It looks like it should be.
Oh, if you're playing it on like easy mode, it's all right. But I mean, you might see more of it on the channel, quite frankly, if we start branching out to more PlayStation stuff. And Xbox stuff and such. Plenty to be had and more fun. But I absolutely loved it. And it's one of those ones when I see the anniversary update, it makes me think like, shit, this game's been out a year already. It feels like yesterday when I was playing it, and then it's 1 year old and it's having some updates. So surprise, surprise. But that brings us to an end for all of our PlayStation news this week. It's been a great show. Thank you to everyone who has joined us along in the chat. Thank you to everyone who does watch along as normal, of course. This is our weekly PlayStation podcast here at Helix Cloud Games, where we round up all the PlayStation news for your listening or viewing pleasure right here on youtube.com/Helix Cloud Games, or up there in the digital clouds on your podcast preference of choice. Don't forget to give the video a like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you're kept in the loop with all of the great content we do here at Helix Cloud Games, like this very show, CloudQuest, and of course the longest running, and it will always be the longest running Stadia podcast in the world, because no one can beat us now because the service is being shut down. So you might see more PlayStation coverage on the channel, and Xbox and Nintendo and PC and GeForce Now and Luna, whatever it may be. But keep it locked. Rest assured we are not going anywhere. This has been episode number 16. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in. Thank you to everyone who's live with us now. My name's been Chris.
I've been Richie.
I've been Rob.
This has been Talking the Piss. P.S. Well, I said piss, didn't I? Talking the Piss.
Was that an accidental thing?
That was an accidental thing, yeah.
Oh, we got so close and then fell at the last hurdle.
16 episodes of getting it right.
Talking the P. I've had a few drinks. Talking the P.S. Play on words. It's that good, you can sometimes slip up on it. Remember, everyone, play wherever makes you the happiest. We'll see you next week. Take care. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.